problem we're trying to solve is that there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us.
Hello there, Tristan Brock here with an exclusive Inside the Lines report with Oakland A's general manager Billy Beane and his statistical thoughts behind the Moneyball system. Welcome, Billy Beane. How's it going?
Great, Tristan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so how's the season been going for you so far?
Season's been going good. You know, we're above 500. We're second right now in our league, and you know, hopefully we can stay that way going into summer. And yeah, just continue making improvements with our young guys that we've been bringing in. Had a good draft class, and so that's really looking up for us.
So you still going to stick to the Moneyball approach?
Oh, of course. You know, been here 15 years. You know, going on 16. I've been using it for 14, and you know, it has its pluses, it has its minuses, but for us, you know, we feel like that's the best statistical way to win ball games.
Sounds great. So let's talk a little bit more about the Moneyball approach.
Let's do it.
So Billy, take us into your first experiences with Moneyball.
Well, being in Oakland Athletic, and at the time I was a new general manager, and in Oakland we, you know, everyone, it's not a big secret to anyone really, especially people in Major League Baseball, that, you know, we don't have a lot of money, which means we can't necessarily spend the money on big name players that we'd like to. So when a friend of mine gave me a pamphlet written by a man by the name of Bill James, and this book really kind of opened my eyes to how you can use mathematics and statistics into really judging players differently and really building a team around those. But once in a while, you know, we kind of, you know, it definitely has its ups and downs.
So why be skeptical at all?
Well, you can do tons of math. You can take tons of data. You can, you know, if you will, you could call that an experiment. You know, you could take 1,000 experiments. You could watch 1,000 people hit. But at the end of the day, the guys have the numbers. You know, they make errors, they make plays, they get hits, they don't make hits. But at the end of the day, you know, you guys can get hurt. Your guys can, you know, maybe they just have a bad day and he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and he doesn't help your team or he doesn't get on base, and you know you hope to learn from that, but you know you can never really completely account for human error as you're putting the numbers into the equation.
So how does mathematics come into play with the game of baseball at all?
Well, like I said, you know, we're not a poor team. We're just a team that doesn't have as much money or resources to pay the highly paid players. The players that are highly paid, their coaches are looking at RBIs and batting averages, and that's what they get paid for: hitting runs in and hitting balls hard and far. But we have to look for the more undervalued traits that these guys have: on base percentage, slugging percentage. The nitty gritty stuff, you know, that sometimes are really overlooked, and that's what our mathematics really do. You know, we look for our statistics to really kind of put us ahead of the competition, in the fact that like on base percentage and slugging percentage is actually those are better statistics to have than a high batting average and an RBI, because that could be a guy who doesn't necessarily, you know, play for the team as much as he plays for himself. And there's always the health issue, and we have a couple equations for looking into, you know, if he's 40 and he's already had one knee tear, you know, we can put that into equation and see how many years left he has in the league, and you know how much he can help us or how much he can't help us. So that's really helpful for us.
That's good to hear. Well, you talked about using equations to be efficient. Could you give us some examples, Billy?
Yeah, no problem.
So you talked about using equations to be efficient. Could you give us an example of how you do that, Billy?
Yeah, no problem. So we'll go with a thing called an OPS, an on-base plus slugging percentage. We don't want our guys to be the guys who hit home runs or strike out. For us, the most efficient thing is going to be for him to hit it out of the park or get on base. We need him to do one of the two, or at least just get on base. So I'll take you through the math. So what we have here is an easy to understand offensive metric that provides a huge advance beyond the basic stats of RBIs: batting average, home runs, and on base percentage. The OPS is simply on base percentage plus slugging percentage divided by the number of at-bats the player has. You know, it's not too hard. It's just one of the simple steps that you see in the MLB in our system of measuring, a player's at-bat abilities.
Well, thank you. That was very interesting.
Yeah, no problem. Another equation, that I would love to show you guys, but it takes about half an hour to do it by hand. We actually have a formula written now that we just plug all our guys into, and the computer does it that quick. But it's called a WOBA, and that's a weighted on base percentage. That's basically another thing for figuring out hitters and offensive guys. Singles aren't worth as much as home runs, but they're both counted as hits. So we're just trying to separate a guy who maybe hits for power, but like I said, strikes out a lot. We'd rather have a guy who's hitting 4 singles a game than 1 home run a game. And so the weighted on base percentage will give us a number on how efficient the guy is. It's everything's just efficiency here.
Wow, Billy, that really sounds like moneyballing to me.
Well, Tristan, as much as it is moneyballing, there's a term for it, and it's sabermetrics, and that's just using math, statistics, and data from obviously your players' data into building a stronger team. In our case, a cheaper team, and most definitely and most importantly, an efficient team that you can win games with.
So does that just about wrap it up for Moneyball?
Well, for the most part, since we started using Moneyball, we were really the first major league team to implement this. It spread nationwide, globally, and globally wide too. NBA, obviously the MLB, the NFL, the MLS, the WNBA. All these teams are using it because you really just can't beat math, and especially the way we're doing it. It doesn't always work out. Since we started, we have 4 league championships. We're working on our 5th this year, and it really isn't just plugging stats into a computer. You actually kind of, you have to be smart. You have to be very mathematically sound and really understand what we're doing with the statistics and what numbers to put in and how they affect. So you got to be smart in baseball, and you got to be smart mathematically. And so that's helping take a lot of people who would be working on Wall Street, and we're bringing them in. Teams are bringing them in, and they're bringing them into sports, and that's creating a lot. That's actually created a lot more jobs because there's only so many jobs in that line of work, and if you think for every professional team has 2 or 3 of these guys who understand this system, we're employing, and we've created a lot more jobs for a lot of other people, and I think it's just in this day and age with the technology and whatnot, I think it was someone had to go to this, and I'm just really glad it could be us in Oakland, and I hate to say it, but we're kind of the pioneers, and that's actually really good.
Sounds good. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, hey, my pleasure. Have a good one.